Hey guys, Jeff Bryans here. I wanted to do a comparison video between the Polaris Axys Patriot 850 and the Skidoo Gen 4 850. And to make it really fun, they're both boosted with Silber Boost. Okay, so let's start with build notes, as I think it's important to go through how each sled was built before we do the review. So the Skidoo was a 165 3-inch Summit. It was a Summit SP, not the X. Suspension was swapped out for Fox up front, a Tom's kit out back, which is really just Fox out back with Tom's magic. B&M boards, had SLP skis, and some more odds and ends throughout the sled. The Polaris, on the other hand, again, Silber Boost. Both of them Silber boosted. It's important. It's the most important upgrade anybody can make. K-Mod skid out back, which has been awesome. Fox up front. And I think that's it for the Polaris. So let's start with the good and bad of the Skidoo first. So the one thing about the Skidoo that is undeniable is how smooth and refined that motor feels, especially under boost. It has a nice amount of power down low. The entire chassis and the entire feel of the sled is one that I would call smooth. It wants to go up hills very fast. I think they both do, but really the Skidoo will climb some incredibly steep hills in a straight line. I really like the track. I thought it was a great track. Moved a lot of snow. Let's go to some of the things I didn't love about that sled. So I noticed I had to keep a little more speed while side hilling, and it wouldn't hold quite the edge, even with the B&M boards, which was a great upgrade. It would want to wash out more. And I know people are like, why are you talking about boards and washout? Well, those boards are actually narrower, and they narrow up the sled significantly. I did try T-Motion locked out, unlocked. Tom does a great job making a skid that really does help the suspension work better, but it still was a little more prone to wash out than the Polaris. On top of that, the sled is definitely more ski heavy. And what I mean by that is the weight distribution of the sled is such that there's more weight on the front of the sled than in the back of the sled. That's okay, but it definitely makes for a more fatiguing ride, especially at slow speed, because you're just having to wrangle more of that weight before it transfers, using the engine, that sort of thing. The Polaris, on the other hand, there's a reason it's one of the most popular sleds in technical terrain. It holds an edge unlike anything I've ever ridden. The new updated narrower front end I really like. It's just a well-tuned, really awesome riding sled from a handling perspective. On top of that, the weight distribution is about 50-50 between the skis and the back, which that's important for low speed maneuvers when you're not getting a lot of weight transfer, which happens a lot in the trees and that sort of thing. If you want to change direction going downhill or whatever, it's nice to have a sled that it doesn't beat you up at slow speed as much as the Skidoo does. One other thing that is incredibly evident when comparing these two sleds is just how easy it is to get the Axys up on the snow. As it's talked about a lot, what does that mean? Well, when you get on the throttle on either sled, it's just very apparent that the Axys jumps up and is level, whereas the Skidoo is going to take a little longer. It's going to want to dig down a little further before it actually levels out, comes up on the snow, and is kind of that fun, easy to ride, I hate the word flickable sled that we're all kind of looking for. I think a lot of that has to do with the weight. The Skidoo is notably heavier. I think it has to do with how the sleds carry weight. And I think it has to do with just overall sled geometry. The Skidoo is a little lower to the ground, so it's going to push a little more snow before it does plane. The Axys is higher, and yeah, all things considered, this is probably the biggest difference at slow speed technical riding between the two sleds, and it's incredibly apparent with the turbo. The bad is, I would say the motor isn't as refined as the Skidoo motor. I mean, it's an older style motor. It doesn't have direct injection. You can tell that. Both under boost are absolutely magnificent, and if you've never had the opportunity to ride a boosted sled, I really encourage it. It will change your life. So, who is each sled for? Well, as you know, you can tell by this review, I lean more toward the Axys. I ride it better. I'm riding better this year than I did last year. That's not to say that the Skidoo isn't capable. You can just watch Jay and Blaine or any good Skidoo pro and you'll tell the Skidoo is an incredibly capable sled. But due to the flex of the package, the weight distribution of the package, I find the Axys to be a much easier sled in technical terrain. I think if you're the kind of guy that kind of moves zone to zone and likes to shoot straight up the hill, you're going to be really happy with the Skidoo. Again, that motor is hard to beat. On the flip side, if you're the kind of guy that really wants to see how gnarly of a tree line he can put together, or wants to really test the ability of a sled to hold a steep edge, you're not going to beat the Axys. It's simply a better sled for that type of riding. So, you know, is one better than the other? For me, yes, I'm going with Patriot, but that's always going to be a topic up for debate, and I'm sure this won't solve anything. I'm very thankful to have ridden both with Boost. The Silber kit is unbelievable. You don't have to do anything as far as tuning goes. You just pull the rope after the reflash and away you go. Thanks for checking out the video, guys, and I hope it keeps snowing.